Well, hello and God bless you. I'm James Jackson, your host.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, the co-host.
Always good to host with you.
It is. It's
Yeah.
a blessing.
Yeah, we got a great show today.
Yes, we have a very talented young man that's going to tell other young men and women how to make it through some difficult areas in life and be on the path to success.
Yeah, and that's Mr. Antoine DeMarcos.
I like the word DeMarcos. The suave. That name has some suave swagger to it. DeMarcos. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy with a wonderful story.
Yeah.
And, off air we were talking about how he made it through, as you said, the violence. And very interesting response to that.
Yeah, very interesting response. Many don't know that he's from Chicago, Illinois, familiar with Cabrini Greens and other housing complexes. He said it was his praying grandmother that helped him get where he is, along with his maneuvering through the arts.
The arts.
Yeah, the arts.
And the arts, of course, is one of the 7 societal mind molders
Right.
or areas of influence.
Which IPS doesn't think is important anymore.
Well, that's probably another show.
Yeah, it's another show, but I had to mention it.
So we're glad that you've joined us on today for Real People, Real Voices. If you missed any of the shows, you can go back and watch them on our YouTube channel, WHMB TV 40. Check it out on YouTube. Also, like our Facebook page. A lot of great content that will be very, very useful to you and your family.
Yeah, it's going to be good for you to go to that YouTube idea, because it will give you the incentive to hear and listen to what's going on in the community, and you can become proactive, especially when you can get the information, because knowledge is power.
It's very important. So stay with us. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Wayne Moore.
And we've got a great guest here today, Mr. DeMarco.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
you
for
doing?
joining us.
DeMarco.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing well.
Writer and director.
Yes, sir.
So we were talking about how you escaped the violence, of course, not just in Chicago, but in a lot of major U.S. cities. There's a lot going on. We're losing young men like yourself all the time. But you've emerged as a gifted writer and director.
Yes, sir, man. Living in the housing projects in Chicago, you get a lot of stories. Sometimes those stories are tragic, sometimes they're a success. And from seeing those things happen and being in that type of environment, a lot of stories develop over the years, man, and now I'm able to use those things as testimonies and stories to help other people.
Yeah. And tell us about some of your work.
Right now, I'm producing a production I've been doing for roughly about 12 years. That production is entitled Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a story written and based from the city of Chicago. I lived in Philadelphia when that production was written, but I didn't want to have some name of a production that sounded like an after-school program, so I wanted to have something that the city of Philadelphia can relate to. The play itself has a lot of merit, but it's gospel-based. So the message of Jesus Christ is in there, but it's not, per se, as they would call it, a churchy play. So when I gave these flyers and gave promotion to street guys who were out there selling drugs, they came with the expectation of seeing Philadelphia the way they perceived it in their minds. But at the end of the day, when I was able to deliver the gospel there, we're talking thousands, man, came to the Lord Jesus Christ, guns collected off the street, many going down in the name of Jesus Christ, being baptized at the end of production. So it became what a reality met the stage.
How come you haven't done that in our city yet?
Well, I have. I've done it. I've done it numerous times. I've done it for the Moselle Sanders Foundation.
Great.
I've done it at Mount Zion and a couple other places, but now we're getting ready to do a revival with the production because it's needed. Especially in this day and hour, we need things like that where the gospel can meet them head on with where they're at. And one of the strategies we're using to present this production, I have a mobile facility. This mobile facility can go anywhere at any time. It's almost like the circus. So Wherever there's trouble, we want to be able to take the facility and the experience to the people in the community where they can have their experience per se of the Harlem Theater in their local community
Right.
to come see the production. So that's what we're getting ready to gear up for in 2017.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your work actually ministers to the people who come and see it. And after every show, is it fair to say that you make the altar call?
Oh, it's a must. It's a must. Wherever the Lord decides to end the play at, whether that's an intermission, whether that's doing a dance, whether that's doing a deliverance scene, wherever he ends it, from that point, we allow him. We gotta allow him to take over and do what he has to do. So I always explain to people, sometimes the play may not end because the anointing may be so heavy, and once the anointing is there, and once God do what he do, we can't do nothing else. We gotta stop it. So whether you gave a $10 donation or $5 donation, whatever you decide to give, understand once God moved, we're done, because that was our mission for the night.
Okay.
And thousands have been saved through this.
Thousands, brother, from Baltimore to Savannah, Georgia, to San Diego, California, all the way up to Seattle, Washington. We have done a production numerous times since 2004, 5 is when we started this ministry.
So you have the old Israel philosophy. Tabernacle on the move. Church on the move.
Yes, 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 yes. And it's unfortunate, man, because it's spoken in the Bible in these last days. Some of the saints are going, they dug for the gospels on wax cold. And because of so many scandals and things, some young people won't step into a church, but I can use schools and rec centers. And right now we have the Dome. So the Dome will be able to go into your location, in your city, pop up, inflate within 15 minutes, and we're able to get 200 plus people there and run it at our discretion. So if the anointing is flowing for 5 hours, we don't have that time to shut off, because in venues and locations, you have a time constraint. Being able to have the liberty and just worship him whenever we say we're done is when it's done is when he says it's done.
And I've heard
That's
of
the liberty.
And I've heard of the Dome. It's a kind of a new concept of an instant facility, if
Yes,
you
sir.
will.
And it will go on lines of what people are calling now a pop-up restaurant. It's a pop-up theater. And with this facility, again, we're able to put almost 200 people in this location, 300 if we put both domes together, and we're up in 15 minutes. We're running, and we break down. We're done in 30 minutes, and it's like we never was there, like Universal Circus. We come and go.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
So you guys have a cast that travels with
Yes,
the show?
sir. What we primarily what I do when I go into an area, like I still have a seasonal cast. Let me backtrack. Born and raised Chicago, started my ministry in Philadelphia. In the city of Philadelphia, I was able to cast people who actually operated and did my productions for that city. That eliminated my travel on the East Coast. That way, if I have a production in, per se, Delaware, New York, or Boston, the East Coast cast can do that. And right now we have Indianapolis handling the Chicago area. But now, surprisingly, I've been getting a lot of support from Cincinnati, which caused me to do a casting call in Cincinnati in January. And then I have a cast on the West Coast, which handles Seattle all the way down to San Diego. So we're national right now.
Great, that's phenomenal. I think that's phenomenal. Young brother doing something like that.
Yeah.
Amen.
And reaching young people.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this new term that's being used as it relates to the millennial? How do you feel about that term? Because that's who you're ministering to mostly.
Yes, this group, man, the millennials, man, they're so instant. They want it right now, and they're so show me, versus how we were in the past. You can talk to me and I'll slowly see it down the line. They want to know now and then what's happening. So I think with the ministry, where we've been adapting it with the time, being able to pop up and just be there. But most importantly, now I'm starting to get those young people involved, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's on stage, because if I can get you to change your environment and put you in a safe haven through the arts, I can allow you to show your rap and do your music. You're gonna eliminate the profanity, but I can give you a platform to be able to do those things in a positive environment. So those millennials, they're loving that, because artists want exposure. And by being able to travel and go according to the way the Lord move us, we can give those young people that. They just got to clean it up and touch it up and make it more professional.
Get them converted first.
Precisely. Come on.
Yeah.
Come
And
on.
they make the best evangelists.
Hey, amen, amen, amen.
Yeah. So very excited about the work that you're doing.
Amen.
And Philadelphia, the concept goes back how far?
The concept of Philadelphia goes back, I'm going to say 89. I was leaving elementary school.
89.
89. I lost a young friend. His name was Ronald Spencer. At that time of 14, 15, I never understood how a young guy can have minks and have cars coming out of 8th grade. I didn't understand that. He didn't make it to high school. He was murdered that summer, but when I saw and I understood his story as I got older, I had to write a character based upon that because he had such great leadership qualities. He just took it the wrong way. He had hundreds of young people following him, but he was following for the wrong reason. What if we got that young man to be right and do it right for the Lord, or do it just good for the community?
Yeah.
Been powerful, man.
An 8th grade baller.
8th grade.
But
It blew my mind.
You know what's interesting about that? That's 89,
Right.
20th century.
Right.
Now here we are in the 21st century,
Yes, sir.
2016,
Amen.
and we're still seeing the same carnage.
Yeah. It's hundreds of Ronald Spencers now, man. And that's the thing about it. Back then it was one or two, but now there are groups of them. And they're roofers, and they don't care about dying because I wasn't expecting to get 21, 22 anyway. So if I get 23, I'm blessed. I'm doing it, but they're not even expecting it, man.
I become an OG at 23.
Come on. Come on.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you coming,
Thank you.
sharing your
Amen.
story. Looking forward
Thank you,
to
man.
Thank you, man.
seeing the production as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us here on Real People, Real Voices. Don't go away. We have some more. We'll be back after this. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm the co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And our esteemed guest, Miss Dolores Thornton, author of many books and radio show host. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I want to get right into it. One of the books that you've authored is called Ida Mae. Very good book.
Can we
you.
get a close shot of that?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We want to congratulate you on your achievement.
Thank you so much.
And with this book, this was your first one.
Very first.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you brought another one called Babe by Dolores Thornton with a very interesting cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a car, a nice car there, and a very nice looking lady there, and nice content. So Ida Mae being your very first book, if you could share with our viewing audience, what precipitated the idea for this book?
Well, actually, I had not thought about writing. I never considered myself a writer. But as my nest became empty, my kids were grown and gone, and it was like almost I was birthing another child. And Ida Mae just came to me various times during the day and started whispering her story. And I really didn't understand what was going on. And so I started telling my sister, you know what, I have this idea and I'm doing some writing. And so I was showing her different pages and she was like, I really like this, keep it going. And at the time I was working for the Postal Service downtown and my coworkers started encouraging me. And at first I thought it was gonna be an essay. And then I thought it was gonna be a short story. And it just kept on pouring out and pouring out. And so when I finished, I had a complete book of this girl that, you know, I knew nothing about.
And how has her story impacted people, or how is it designed to impact people who read it?
Well, you know what? They always ask you, who is your target audience? And I always said I really didn't have a target audience because I was selling the book to coworkers, you know, men. And they would come back in on Monday and say, you know what? My mom stayed up all night long until she finished that book. And then I went to a book signing down in Miami, and a lady came in and she said, you know what? My husband is out there. He didn't want to stand in line to get his book signed. He missed up on a fishing trip. Said he read your book and he had to have his own autographed copy. So that really made me proud that, you know, it never occurred to me that men were gonna like this book.
Yeah.
But men loved it, children liked it, my mother fell in love with it, and she actually demanded that I write her story, which was my second book, Babe. And I told her, I was like, you don't have a story, Mama. All you did was marry Daddy and had us. You know what I'm saying? And so she, you know, she persisted, she was adamant. And I took the tape recorder over to her house and I started taping her, and I was just really amazed at the life my mother had led. You know, she escaped racism in the South and came here in 1922. So she ran into some of everything, you know, that she had never shared with us. And so that story, Babe, was so very important to me that I, you know, tell her. Of course, I had to embellish it and I had to fictionalize it because my sisters and brothers were like, you better not come out with no story with us in it and talking about Mama and Daddy. So, yeah, I had to fix it.
So how did you come up with this particular cover, and how does it relate to the contents of the book?
Well, I was trying to capture my mom probably at around age 30. Because some people even ask me, you know what, why didn't you put Mama on the cover? When I wrote that book, my mother was in her 80s. And, you know, that wasn't the period that I was trying to capture with a cover. You know, and a cover has to be unique. And my friend Bernice, you know, I had asked her, would you like to be a cover model? And she said, why, of course. And then we had this other coworker named Lynn Carey that had that old car. And, you know, it was so difficult to try to get it there because he was like, okay, it's going to be rainy. Okay, it's going to be hot. He would only drive the car on certain days. He built a garage for that car. You know, that car was his prized possession. So, you know, for a while, we anguished over the fact that we may not get the car, you know. So she would come dressed up, and finally she just started leaving her stuff in her locker and said, you know what, whenever he gets the car here, we're going out at lunch break and we're going to shoot the shot. And that was, we did it right there.
Wow.
In the parking lot.
Ms. Thorne, I'm very proud of you. I was able to be your teacher
Yes, you were.
at Simmons Bible College,
Yes.
the extension that was here. And you've done an outstanding job. Before we got on the set, you said I gave you a B+.
You gave me a B+, and I know I deserved an A.
Well, today, since you're an accomplished author, we give you an A.
Okay. Okay.
And a great guest.
Yeah, great guest.
Yeah.
Qualified guest, Simmons Bible College, Christian Theological Seminary, ordained minister, and an author. That's phenomenal. And tell me what it is about Ida Mae that men like.
Well, during the period that I wrote Ida Mae, there were a lot of books coming out that contained male bashing. You know, and it was a lot of stuff about, okay, we're going to burn up his clothes, we're going to throw his stuff out the window. And it was a lot of stuff about, you know what, we can do everything ourselves, we don't need him. And Ida Mae had none of that. You know, there were positive male role models, and I think men connected, you know, men of all races connected with the positive role models in Ida Mae.
That's great.
And you're also a radio show talk show.
Yes. Actually, I had a radio show years ago on TLC, and it was called Around to It, because I had traveled throughout the country and throughout the Caribbean marketing and promoting my books that I self-published when I formed my own company, Marguerite Press. And people were always asking me, how do you do it? Because I have a story I've started, and as soon as I get around to it, I got so sick of hearing Around to It. So I said, I'm going to name my show Around to It. So when you tune in, you're finally here. You're around to it right now when you listen to my show. So that's how I came up with that. But then I had a problem with traveling on snow and ice that I don't do very well. And so about that time, the internet explosion came about. And so I went to internet radio. I was one of the first authors here in the state with an internet show. And then I sort of like laid away from it. You know, I was called to ministry. You know, I went to school for that. And then the bug just bit me again, because I've been doing plays. I do like Silent Savior, our weekly church bulletin, because actually now I have 7 books, a thesis, and 4 plays.
Seven books.
Yes. And then I've also published my pastor's book and Reverend Joy Thornton's book from Greater St. Mark. So I published other books as well through my company.
I see where your credentials tell us that you were in the Hall of Fame, Self-Publishing Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You're inducted in there. How long have you
Yes.
been in there?
It's been about 5 or 6 years, I think.
That's phenomenal.
I think it's been about 5 or 6 years. And I was also voted Queen of Promotion from C&B Books of New York for the way that I would aggressively market and promote my books and other authors. So I love being in that position because I'm on the African American History Committee of the Indianapolis-Marion County Public Library. And the library was recently granted $3.5 million for African American authors.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to have some major things going on downtown at Central and some programs, you know. So I'm inviting authors to, you know, try to stay in tune with what's going on so they can get in on that big money.
And how can people get a hold of you?
They can contact me by going to Dolores910 at yahoo.com. That's DELORES 910 at yahoo.com. Or they can go to my website, which is doloresthornton.org. Or they can catch me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. They can contact me on my
you
radio
are out
show.
there, Miss Thornton.
Yes, they can. Anywhere they go, they will find me.
Well, I'm going to give you an A+.
Great, you're better than him.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, he's a great soul.
So thank you for joining us. We really
Thank you
appreciate
so very
it.
much for having me.
It's so good to
Thank
see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so
Continue.
much.
And thank you all for joining us today on Real People, Real Voices. Please be sure you get these books and the 5 others that Ms. Thornton have authored and a lot of other resources. We'll see you next time. Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
And I'm Faith McKinney, executive producer.
And I'm Curtis Baker, stage manager here at WHMB TV 40.
Well, what a great show we've had on today. And last year and up to this point, excellent shows.
You know what? I am so excited because this is my first rundown. I mean, we've had, shows
20
since 20 shows.
25 shows.
25 shows.
Wow.
And we wait to the end of the year, and you guys finally let me on.
Hey, we saved the best for
And I get a cup, too. Can you imagine? This has been great.
We want to thank you and Channel 40 for the opportunity that you all have given us to inform our community.
And you guys have been really great. You've brought so many fantastic guests throughout our doors. And we just are so happy and excited that you and Dr. Moore and Faith have been able to bless us with this show. It's been very great for us. Very great.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, we look forward to having a new year, and we hope to bring more guests and more information to the community, and also promote Jesus Christ in the process.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So, of all the shows that you've done with us, has there been one that stuck out that's probably like, I don't want you to rate them or anything because we got so many people watching. I thought I had a great show. But has there been one that's been like, wow, that was different? Has any stuck out to you?
Yeah, the show we had, the young lady who knits the clothing.
Yeah.
Precious Brown.
Yeah, Precious Brown. And we were talking about modeling for her, maybe in 2017.
Yes, she might have a possibility to do some modeling for us.
Yeah.
Very unique garments
Yeah,
that she makes.
she'll be in Paris in the spring, so maybe you can catch her right after that.
Do it on location in Paris.
Oh, absolutely.
Paris Fashion Weekend, yeah. Take Real People, Real Voices on the road.
Oh, we got to do
Yes.
that.
Sounds like a plan.
And we need sponsors to do that. We need real sponsors to go to Paris
Yes.
to be with our young lady as she does her fashion show.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other question I want to ask you, because I know this is probably, one that you're going to have difficulty answering, but I know that this has changed your lives, this show, that you probably can't go anywhere in the community anymore. People, you're already famous pastors as it was. Now you're on this big television show here on TV 40, and I'm sure that you probably have to go, you can't eat in restaurants anymore without being bothered. You
Dark
probably have to
glasses.
change your numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, how has that affected your lives?
Stay tuned to Real People, Real Voices.
It's not the same.
We're grateful. We're really grateful
Yeah.
for whatever changes it has brought.
I was just kidding.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But I am really grateful for the opportunity to serve my community and to serve you and Channel 40. So thank you. Thank you for watching.
Yeah. We really appreciate you all. Wouldn't happen without you joining us each week. Please tell your friends and family that we're on Sundays at 6:30, Wednesday nights at 11 o'clock p.m. Go to our YouTube channel, become a subscriber on the WHMB TV 40 YouTube site, and also like us on Facebook. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Happy New Year.
Have a prosperous 2017. Happy New Year.